I have spent my life in Boston and Massachusetts delivering the news. We've got some breaking news for you this afternoon from the folks at Pfizer. With details now, the team from Pfizer, Michael Dolston, President of Research and Development, Barbara Dalton, Senior Managing Partner of Pfizer Ventures, Dennis Patrick, Managing Partner of Pfizer Ventures, and Glenn Larson, Co-founder, President, and CEO of Aquina Pharmaceuticals. Please give them a warm welcome.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and I'm very excited today to kick off this brief announcement we wanted to do, and it's all about to make science flourish. We think collaboration is one of the key elements. Collaboration leads to the best minds, the best talents, capabilities come together to accelerate advancement of medicines and new capabilities. And it has been a key element in our R&D strategy over the last decade to think about R&D in a networked, innovating environment. And in that spirit, we wanted to strengthen one of the tools we bring to the table for collaboration, and that's our venture fund, that act as a bridge between biotech's venture community and provide cash as well as access to some of the experience we have in developing breakthrough medicines. So today we're announcing that we are expanding our commitment to support the innovation ecosystem with another $600 million to the Pfizer Venture Fund. We have so far invested $500 million across some 40 companies, or about 30%, a little bit more actually, are in Massachusetts, the state of possibilities. And now we're more than doubling this. And as part of this commitment to support innovation ecosystem here and other major hubs, we are investing in the areas we consider most promising for science and the innovators that we find are working on the problems with experience that can make a difference for patients and to sustain an ecosystem. A part of this investment is earmarked for neuroscience, 25% up to $150 million of the investment. We wanted particularly to emphasize this because earlier this year we took the difficult decision to internally, with our research and early development, discontinue neuroscience, as we needed to focus on the tremendous progress we saw with our programs in vaccine, inflammation, oncology, internal medicine, and rare disease. However, we do recognize that there are tremendous need in neuroscience and a lot of early, really exciting new perspectives coming in the labs. So we wanted to come together with other venture and biotech innovators, and as a broader team, we think we can make a bigger difference than we could have done as a single investor in neuroscience. So we think that's a good way of investing differently, allowing both neuroscience to advance while we can focus internally on some of these other areas. Finally, it's a particular pleasure for me and the colleagues here to be announcing this here in Massachusetts. We have over the last few years at Kendall Square assembled a significant research center with about 1,000 scientists, and not a long way in Andover we have another 1,000 R&D and manufacturing colleagues. So Massachusetts and the Cambridge-Boston area is important for us. It's a place where I think we can symbolize the networked R&D in a tremendous way. And we certainly look upon the announcement here as a commitment to biomedicine, entrepreneurship here and other major biomedical hubs. I'm here also not just with the key colleagues here and our fellow CEO Jensen from Aquina, but we have also some other prominent Pfizer leaders. Our CMO, Frida Lewis Hall, CSO of Rare Disease, Greg LaRosa, Barbara Sosnovsky, that's also part of the Mass Bio Board, and many other faces. I won't have time to mention all of you. Take the opportunity to network together afterwards. And I will hand over to Barbara to share some more details around this exciting venture fund.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thank you to MassBio for providing the stage for us to make this announcement of the expansion of the venture capital activity that Pfizer is involved in. It is not only important to note that we have increased the size of the allocation to venture capital, but more importantly, at least to me, is that we have increased the team such that we can do more with the added dollars that we have received. It is my objective today to introduce you to a few things. One is the fact that our new name, our new brand is Pfizer Ventures. Under the Pfizer Venture umbrella, we have incorporated all the venture capital type investments that Pfizer has been doing over the past several years. Pfizer has been involved in venture capital since 2004, but a few years ago we started an RDI initiative, some of you may be familiar with, which was also using equity investments in early stage companies. And we're bringing them together as one team under the brand of Pfizer Ventures. The $600 million adds to the $500 million we had previously invested and gives us approximately a bit more than $1 billion of assets under management. That's the way the venture capital world relates to the funds that it manages. But I'm very excited today to introduce to you the new team, which will be responsible not only for managing the current portfolio of 40 companies, but also for deploying the new capital going forward. And they are here with us today, with the exception of Bill Burkoff, who is off working with one of our portfolio companies. I want to give you a brief background about these people so you can see the strength and diversity of the team that we brought together. Bill was the original employee in the Pfizer Venture Group, so he's been doing Pfizer Venture investments for the last almost 15 years. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Elaine Jones. Elaine, you want to raise your hand? Elaine has 10 years of venture capital investment experience here within Pfizer. That's on the back of a scientific career, R&D, and business development. Then I'd like to introduce you to Dennis Patrick, who is probably going to get introduced otherwise around here since he's on the stage. But Dennis comes to us with a significant background in oncology. He's our oncology expert. He's been involved in R&D research in multiple pharmaceutical companies and has spent a number of years here at Pfizer interrogating very small entrepreneurial startup companies in the oncology space. So he knows all about oncology. I'd like to introduce Margie McLaughlin, who's over here on the left. Margie comes to the group with a significant amount of business development transactional experience. She is a chemist by training. And in the last several years, she has worked with Dennis on the RDI initiative in helping to do those equity investments. So she began her equity investing career a few years ago. And beyond that, I would like to introduce Nikola Trbovic. Nikola comes to us with a biophysics biochemistry background when he joined Pfizer's R&D leadership team from McKinsey. And I'd also like to introduce Laszlo Kiss. Laszlo is a neurobiologist who has worked in a number of pharmaceutical companies and for the last couple years has been looking at all the startups in the neuroscience space on behalf of our search into innovation outside our walls. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce you to the newest member, which is Chris O'Donnell, who brings to us medicinal chemistry expertise, which is critical in the business we are involved in. He has been at Pfizer for more than 20 years, worked on a number of products, and spent a large portion of his time working in the neuroscience space. And then I'd also like to introduce you to the support we receive from Andrew Muraturi, who's our lawyer, who we can't do anything without his input from that perspective, and Dan Ferrigno, who is also our finance manager. So we have got a new team, but I hope you can see that they have a great depth, that they will be able to help us execute on finding great science and investing in companies that are advancing the best of science. These will be early stage companies. They'll be private companies. We will be looking for companies that have great management teams in addition to great science, as well as co-investors. We will be investing in syndicates with typical venture capital groups, and we will be looking forward to executing on a strategy that is both investing in companies of current or future strategic interest to Pfizer, but that can also provide a return on investment. So we are a strategic as well as financial investor in the marketplace. The current portfolio consists of about 40 companies, and we expect to add a number of companies to that portfolio with this new allocation from Pfizer. Historically, we are not geographically limited, but in Massachusetts, you have 30% of our companies residing in Massachusetts, and we expect that number to potentially increase as a consequence of the great science and technology which derives from Massachusetts, Cambridge and Boston area specifically. And before I turn the stage over to Dennis Patrick, I would like to invite you all to join the Pfizer Venture team at our booth number 1651 for a reception from 2 to 4 this afternoon. Thank you for your time. Dennis?
Thank you, Barbara. I would like to take just a moment to expand on our investment strategies, and then I have an important additional announcement to make. So our investments will be in line with our strategic objectives that our research unit set. In neuroscience, we will be investing along the same lines as our research unit was investigating, and that includes neurodegeneration, neuroinflammation, neurometabolism. In addition to this, we will be setting up a scientific advisory board that will help us to establish our strategies, evaluate our investments, and connect us to the scientific community. This is not Pfizer's foray into investing in neuroscience. We have made, thank you. Since 2011, we have made 7 investments, summing to $53.9 million. 6 of these were in biotech companies, and they include Aquina, Autifany, Cortexime, MindImmune, Mission, and Neuronetics. Got them all. And last, we also made an investment in the Discovery Dementia Fund. We were one of the original investors in that fund. We share very common interests in that space. In addition to neuroscience, the balance, 75%, will be investing again along strategic lines that our research units set. And those research units, again, are oncology, immunology and inflammation, rare diseases, vaccines, and CVMet. And now for the exciting announcement. Pfizer, as a platinum sponsor of Lab Central, we will be awarding 2 golden tickets to local neuroscience companies, and this includes a fully funded bench for 1 year, 1 bench per company. Being part of the golden ticket gives you priority entry into Lab Central, and being part of Lab Central gives you access to central facilities, central equipment, training, permits, seminars, and of course, connection to the biotech hub here in Boston. And if you wish to apply for one of these golden tickets, you have until July 22nd at midnight. Go to www.pfizer.com/golden ticket. And now I'd like to introduce Glenn Larson, co-founder, president, and CEO of Aquina Therapeutics. We are very pleased to be investors in Aquina and participating on the board of directors in SAB, and we hope that's been beneficial to Aquina. Glenn?
Thank you very much, Dennis. First, I'd like to thank Pfizer very much, actually, for their support. They invested in us about a year ago, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Just a little bit about myself. I'm co-founder, CEO of this company. I have over 30 years of drug discovery development experience. I've actually advanced 15 different new chemical entities to clinical development. 5 of those were ultimately commercially approved. So I think you can see that I have a lot of experience here. And the reason we started Aquina with my co-founder, Ben Wallazin, was because he discovered an amazing new type of science called the science of stress granules that are implicated in 2 very, very important diseases where there's no effective drug at this point in time. That would be for ALS and Alzheimer's. So talking about making things possible, many people have helped us make things possible here. Actually, the Mass Life Science Association, they've helped us with initial grants, Pfizer now with their money, and a lot of other people have as well. So let me just tell you what a stress granule is very briefly. It's an organelle within a cell that forms protein dysfunction, and that dysfunction leads to loss of neurons. And my co-founder, Ben, so I think what got Pfizer very excited when they invested in us about a year ago was that my co-founder, Ben Wallazin, had made this phenomenal discovery, actually, in a mouse model of tauopathy, which is an Alzheimer's mouse of human disease. And what he showed by manipulating them genetically is that you could actually increase the survival of these mice by many, many months, which is a very long time in the lifespan of a mouse. He also showed that there was no brain loss, brain neuron loss or mass of the brain either, all things that are normally lost in patients that have Alzheimer's disease. So based on that, we are now recapitulating an approach to create a small molecule so you can take a pill every day in patients that ultimately could benefit from our approach. I think it's Pfizer's keen insight and excitement that helped us get excited, and we brought other investors in last year as well at the same time. So they've actually been a great partner, not just from an investment perspective, but as Dennis mentioned, they actually participate in our board meetings, in our scientific advisory board meetings. They give us a lot of input in terms of standard industry practices for drug discovery development, making sure we stay on path, which is always challenging when you're doing R&D anyway. They've also opened up their state-of-the-art facility in the building that we're located in. Actually, we are co-located in the Pfizer building, and that's attributable to Lab Central. Lab Central actually has a graduations facility in the Pfizer building, which is wonderful because it allows us to focus on science and not do operations. So if you're not familiar with them and you want to start a company, you should definitely talk to Maggie over there, who's in charge of the business. So Pfizer has actually been a wonderful partner. And finally, the venture, in a small company where we're creating jobs, your payroll goes up. So you have to bring more money into the company on a regular basis. And Elaine Jones in the venture group has been very supportive in terms of discussing with us how we should go about doing that, as well as the rest of the venture group and Laszlo Kiss and many others here. So Pfizer's really been a wonderful partner so far, and I would encourage any of you who are doing cutting edge, really exciting work, which normally will never get done in a large pharmaceutical company because it's just too risky for them. Because it hasn't been validated. So we're doing science that has not been validated. We're on the cutting edge, and this is the type of investment that they're looking to make in companies like ours and hopefully yours. So with that, I want to thank you very much and turn it over back to Michael.
So, Glenn, thank you very much for bringing the spirit of a biotech CEO to the podium here, and you could hear the blend of really knowing the science. You could see his voice go up when he spoke about the stress granule, and then about the administration, it leveled down a little bit, but I could still feel the firm hand of a guy that knows how to run this early biotech. And this is the type of spirit, this is the type of innovators we want to work with. We'll now open up for some networking. I want to thank MassBio for allowing us to do this announcement in your pavilion. And also note that if there are any biotech startup colleagues here in the CVMet area, Maury Birnbaum, our CSO and science chair of the Kendall Square site, just joined, and he is eager, open to listen, as we all are. Thank you very much.